Hello and welcome to Run Testers. My name's Nick and this is our first run review of the Hoka Skyflow. So the Hoka Skyflow is a new cushion shoe within the Hoka range. It's coming in a little bit more expensive than the Hoka Clifton 9. It costs £150 or $160. It weighs in at 285 grams or 10 ounces in this UK size 9, and it has a 5mm drop with the stack height being 40mm at the heel and 35 at the forefoot in the men's shoe, and 38 at the heel and 33 at the forefoot in the women's shoe. So as I said, the Skyflow is a new cushion daily trainer within the Hoka range, and kind of the big difference with this compared to traditional models like the Hoka Bondi and the Hoka Clifton is that the midsole is entirely made from a supercritical EVA foam, which is the materials that Hoka has mainly used in shoes like the Mac before. It hasn't really brought to a very standard cushion daily trainer, so that will be the upgrade you have here in theory. Otherwise, you've got quite a lot of quite typical Hoka features on the shoe. You've got a Creole jacquard mesh upper, incredibly padded tongue, I've noticed. I'm interested to see how that feels on the run because it's a lot more padded than I've seen with other Hoka shoes, I think. Fair bit of padding around the collar, the usual kind of Hoka heel design there that I've always found very good for avoiding Achilles irritation, and an internal heel counter as well. And then, like I say, the midsole is made from a supercritical EVA foam. In the past, you have compression molded EVA on stuff like the Hoka Clifton and Bondi. This is just a kind of lighter, poppier material. It's a foam I've always really liked on shoes like the Hoka Mac that I found pretty good daily trainers with a slight speedy edge. Now it'll be interesting to see how it feels on the Skyflow, which is geared up much more to be a cushioned, more relaxed daily trainer. You've also got Hoka's early stage Meta rocker on the shoe, and then you've got quite a thick rubber outsole. Obviously the coverage isn't complete there. You've got like a bit of a gouge in the midsole there as well, and some exposed foam, but there's a lot of rubber in all the key impact areas, and it's quite a thick one as well, so durability should be good on this, which is obviously what you want from a daily trainer like this. Comes the fit of the Hoka Skyflow. I've got my normal UK size here, which is a UK 9. That's a US 9.5 for Hoka. That's the size I have across their range, and it fits me very well. It's got very much a classic Hoka fit all round, I'd say. So the forefoot is great for me. I have a narrow foot. I think if you have a wide foot, then sometimes Hoka shoes can be a bit of a problem. I don't think this is a particularly narrow shoe, but it's hard for me to judge because I do have a narrow foot. That's one of the reasons I really like the fit of Hoka's, because they do fit me very well. Good hold around the midfoot. Really padded tongue, which held the foot nicely today. I actually got a bit of a wound on the top of my foot from lace bite that I got from another shoe, and this was obviously very comfortable on top of that. I did worry it would be oppressive and too thick and warm, but being outside for about 45 minutes today on my run, it didn't get too hot, but might be a problem in longer runs, we'll see. And then the heel design is always really good on Hoka, so I am someone who gets slight Achilles irritation from certain heel counter designs on other shoes, and I've had that quite a lot this week from another shoe, but it hasn't been a problem at all. With the Skyflow, you've got a little bit of support from the heel counter there, but I find it quite unobtrusive and yeah, just well done all round. So I'd say the fit is very much in line with the fit of other Hoka shoes. So if you do have others, you can judge the sizing based on that, and if you have problems with other Hoka shoes, you might have the same problems here with the Skyflow, but overall the fit has been very good for me in my normal size. So just heading out to do first run in the Hoka Skyflow. I've got a nice easy kind of 40 to 45 minutes on the plan today. Just a nice Monday run after a long run yesterday. Going to probably do a mix of light trails on the road, get onto the trails to get under some tree cover because it is very hot here in the UK today. I know people like it when we say how hot it is in the UK compared to obviously really hot countries. Looking forward to testing the shoe out. I've been quite impressed with what Hoka's been doing of late. I enjoyed the Clifton, so this is kind of an upgrade on that with the different midsole foam. That'll be very pleasant indeed, and I've liked the Mac for a few years, so it'll be interesting to see how it feels to have this foam in a slightly bigger, more cushioned daily trainer. So yeah, looking forward to getting out there for a nice relaxed run in the sun. So just back for the run now, did just over 10k in about 45 minutes, and it was very pleasant. Yeah, like I say, nice hot day today. I was just ticking along at a relaxed pace, keeping the heart rate low. Shoe definitely has that quality you get from the Mac and the Clifton to some extent, which just kind of disappears in the foot. Like, it's got that very padded tongue, but actually that wasn't really a problem today, and it is over 30 degrees here today. And I know it wasn't a very long run, but it didn't feel hot or oppressive or anything like that. It was just cushioned. There's the well-designed back of the shoe I always find with Hoka shoes, just kind of gets out of the way, supports without irritating my Achilles. Upper's nice and light, and the foam just feels good underfoot. Like, it's not really wowing you. It's not very soft and squishy. It's not like you're pulling on something like the Mizuno Neo Vista, but it's got a little bit of bounce there, and it mostly just ticks over very nicely with the rocker. Just start running, you go running, and you kind of don't have to think about your shoe too much, which is a really nice quality to have in a shoe. And then when I up the pace a little bit, you do get a bit more sink in. So if you put a bit more force into the foam, you do get a bit more kind of compression and bounce back. It's a resilient foam and it will bounce back. And I say if you're a heavier runner, you might get that at kind of all paces. And then when you start moving at faster paces, I think lots of runners will feel that. So it's got that kind of two-level effect, which is good for a daily trainer where, you know, nice and comfortable, but you can feel a bit of speed there if you are going to try and up the pace. It's a bigger shoe than the Mac for sure, which I always think like works quite well as a daily trainer for someone like myself. Like I could use that for pretty much everything, the Mac. But if you found that was a bit too kind of lightweight, too sparse underfoot, then you've maybe got a sparse isn't the word, too not deep enough, not comfortable enough underfoot. We've got this Skyflow, which I think has a similar foam, a similar feel, but a bit more foam underfoot, and will give you a bit more cushioning there at those easy paces. So yeah, I think it's a nice addition to the line. It definitely has a feel that reminds me a bit of the Clifton, but you've got a slightly nicer foam there. A bit more kind of pushback if you are going to try and work at pace than you got from the kind of classic EVA foams in the Hoka lineup. So nice, enjoyable first run. So it was an enjoyable first run in the Hoka Skyflow today. I do think it's going to be a good shoe for cruising through those daily miles at easy paces. I think it's got a nice amount of cushioning. It's not over the top in any way. It still ticks over nicely. It's not too heavy. It moves well. It just feels like a good shoe to rack up a lot of miles in, and I look forward to doing that. I'll also be looking at the versatility when I start to do some more mileage and see if it has got the chops to do some faster running in as well, or whether it will sit more at the kind of cushioned end of the daily spectrum as a shoe you'd mainly try and use in a rotation with another shoe. But I do think there is a bit of bounce there, and it should have similar versatility to other big cushion shoes like this. So for me, it very much feels like an improved Clifton. So almost like the Clifton 10 for me. Like you've got a lot of similar stuff that you had with the Clifton 9, now with a better foam in the midsole, and it just feels like a better shoe. But it's kind of confusing as to where this sits compared to the Clifton and the Bondi. Like I didn't really like the Bondi at all. I found it a heavy shoe that just didn't really get on with very well. I'm sure it was nice and protective, but it just didn't move very well. And this moves really well. So if you've got a similar level of cushioning to the Bondi, it could replace that shoe for sure. But it feels more of a daily trainer than an out-and-out cushion shoe like the Bondi to me. And as a result, a bit more comparable to the Clifton, although the price has risen, which is a bit of a shame. Like if this was coming in as the Clifton 10 or the Skyflow replaced the Clifton and they kept it at that price point, it'd be a really good value shoe that competes very well with shoes in that area like the Pegasus or the Asics Nova Blast, that kind of shoe. But you're pushing it up against things like the Nimbus and the Triumph, then you're at this kind of slightly higher price mark, which indicates more of a premium cushion shoe. I think it will compete pretty well there as well, because it is a nice, comfortable cushion shoe. But for me, it does feel a bit more like a newer Clifton, and I wish the price had stayed at Clifton levels, but we're nearly always wishing for the price to be lower of running shoes these days, and it very rarely is. I'd say the shoe that probably reminded me most of, actually, after one run was the Asics Nova Blast 4, as that really quite well-cushioned shoe that still has a fair amount of lightness and versatility to it, and the Nova Blast 4 is a really good shoe, so if it ends up being comparable to that in our full review, then I think it's going to be a really good option, although the Nova Blast is a bit cheaper. But yeah, overall, enjoyed my first run in the Skyflow. Just a nice cushion shoe that gets out of the way, ticks over very nicely, should be good for a nice wide range of runs. Should also, I think, suit a nice wide range of runners, and yeah, it's not going to necessarily knock your socks off. It's not the most exciting shoe in the world, but I think it works very well in the Hoka range. If you're someone who found the Mac 5 and 6 just a bit too short or not cushioned enough to really use as a daily trainer, they're the kind of shoes I do like using as a daily trainer because they are so lightweight, but they still have quite a high amount of cushioning. But if you did find them a bit kind of lightweight for that kind of running, I think the Skyflow comes in and gives you a similar feel, but in a more cushioned shoe that feels a bit more set up for daily miles, and then the Mac could be more of a speedy option. It's a nice little 1-2 punch you could have there with this kind of supercritical EVA midsole. Yeah, another good shoe from Hoka. I'm enjoying testing pretty much all their shoes this year, and I've enjoyed the Skyflow so far. That's our first run in the Hoka Skyflow. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Please do like, subscribe, ring the little bell, and we'll see you next time on the Run Testers.